Just want to say good morning to you all again, to the senior classes. Today we're going to hear a story about Jesus, which is called the Transfiguration. It tells the story about Jesus going up the mountainside with some of his disciples, Peter, James, and John. And they have a wonderful experience when they're there and they see Jesus as he truly is. It's important to see where this story comes in the Bible. It comes in Mark chapter 9. Just in the earlier chapter, Mark chapter 8, Jesus asks a question of the disciples. He asks them, "Who do people say I am?" And Peter responds with the disciples saying that some people say he's Moses, other people say he's Elijah. Some people are saying that he's John the Baptist back from the dead. And then Jesus asks them a very important question. Who do they think he is? And Peter responds, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God." So Peter has understood who Jesus is, but he may not have fully understood. And in this story, the story of the Transfiguration, Peter, James, and John get a glimpse of who truly Jesus is in all his power, in all his wonder, and all the excitement about him as a person. So let's begin our assembly today. One day, Jesus took 3 of his disciples, Peter, James, and John, and they went up on a hillside together. The disciples, these 3 disciples, were among the first disciples that Jesus called, and all of them had been fishermen. They climbed up into the high mountain and they took a look around. Peter looked down on the ground and saw just how dry everything was. They had been awake all night and they were feeling very sleepy. And very soon the disciples fell asleep. Just while they were asleep, Jesus' whole appearance was changed. His clothes became whiter than white, and it shone all around him. And a cloud came around him, and all around him and beside him. Then Jesus, as he glows in this place, is joined by Moses and Elijah. Moses, the great leader of God's people, who brought the people of God out of slavery in Egypt into the promised land. And Elijah, the great prophet, who foretold of the coming of the Messiah, but who also pointed to the fact that God's will was being carried out each day through what he was doing in the world. Elijah was dressed very much like John the Baptist had been dressed, and he always carried a staff with him in order to help him on his journey, but also to give people a sense of God's presence with him. He was a shepherd in the name of God. And Moses, as we said, took his people out of slavery in Egypt and into the promised land. And there they were able to understand fully every day how special they were as a people to God and how he wanted them to live for him each day. The disciples woke up. They started to stare into the brightness. They could barely look at Jesus. He was glowing so brightly in the sky. And as they covered their faces, a voice came from heaven. "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." Jesus is in this brightness, and a cloud has covered him. And the disciples begin to understand that up until now, what they thought they knew about Jesus was only a small reflection of his importance in the world. This was truly God's Son, come among them all. Jesus comes back among them out of the brightness. The disciples find it hard to understand. They're taking it all on board. How do they understand who Jesus is truly, if this is a sign of his power and his glory? They say to him, we must make a permanent record of this. We must establish a place where people can come and worship. Let us build 3 little houses as the places where you stood, where Elijah stood, and where Moses stood. But Jesus' message to them is quite different. He doesn't want any place to be marked as to where he stood or what he did or what he said. In fact, he tells the disciples that they are not to tell anyone what they have seen. They have been very, very fortunate to have seen so clearly who Jesus was each day and how much he can change the world by his power and his glory. Peter, although he expressed the words about Jesus being the Messiah, he's only now beginning to fully understand what a powerful person Jesus is as the Son of God. We're now going to reflect a little on that and realize that no matter how much we expect of God, God can give us far more. No matter how big our problems can be sometimes, God can do far more. No matter how difficult we find life at times, God is able to address all of our concerns and our worries and to help us even through the most difficult times if we're prepared to pray to him. I'd ask you to say this prayer with me. Dear God, help me to see more clearly every day how special Jesus is. Teach me each day to recognize that Jesus can be special in my life and help me in all the things I do. Amen. We say together the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And the Lord bless you and keep you today and forever. Amen. Thank you for being a part of this assembly this morning and for again reminding ourselves about how special Jesus can be in our lives. We wish everyone who is listening today that you remain safe and well. We know that we still continue in a situation where we're out of school and don't have the opportunity to meet together. But very soon, hopefully in the next few weeks, there will be an opportunity for us all again to be in school, even though we can't all meet together at one time as we have done in the past. I'd ask God to bless you and to bless your families in these days ahead, to give you all the good things that you wish for your lives. Help us all to put full confidence in the special one, Jesus Christ, who far exceeds everything we can expect and always answers our prayers. Keep well and safe, everyone. And the Lord bless you and keep you now and forever. Amen.